Everybody's looking at me.
Yeah, we're recording.
There we go. Yeah.
All righty. Now that we've got that out of the way, everybody, welcome back for another episode of the Wait, hang
Wait
on.
a minute.
I don't think that's correct anymore. You are now looking in live at the brand new, freshly minted, right out the box, the book Asylum. I am Jack Childress, formerly of Written Undead. Well, still in the group Written Undead, but the show is no mo. I got my usual tag team partners, Richard Ryan Rose, Angel Ramon, kicking it over in the wings. Hanging out with us again, and I'm thankful for it, is the one and only Jeff Thompson acting as director this week. And now, for the debut episode of the book Asylum, we get to bring to you not only a fantastic author and young entrepreneur, for that matter, also a brand new teammate in the book Asylum, the one and only, say your damn first name so I can get it right.
Alyanna.
Alyanna Poe, everybody. Welcome in, young woman. How are you doing today?
Tired.
There's a lot of that
And we
going
start with a
around.
bang.
Right out the gate,
Awesome.
smoking.
Yeah.
So now, first off, you're only what, like 22? So
Just turned 22 in February.
And you started writing when?
Oh, good for you.
I was 14 when I started writing Eaton, the one that's in the background there. I just noticed it today.
Yep, and Void is right there. Got them both
I
on display.
just redesigned the covers too yesterday, I think it was. I sketched out the covers that I plan on doing to redo them.
Nice. So now, what was it that just at 14 years old, me at 14 years old, I was pretty much flicking boogers at people and, just all around being a knucklehead. What got
How?
what?
It's different how.
Yeah, well, there may have been a cow or two get tipped. I'm just not going to confirm nor deny that.
Don't feel bad, Jack.
But
at the age of 14, I was messing with girls. So
yep, there. See, now for you decided to start writing. How did all this happen?
I had really bad anger issues, and my mom told me that I needed like a way to express myself, and I just that night I decided to plot out Eaton, which is about a girl with dermatillomania is how you say it. I didn't realize it was a mental disorder until after I published the book, but I've been picking at my skin since I was a kid. It's like a stress thing. And doctors used to scare me. They were like, you're gonna get a flesh-eating disease, and I was like, it's just something that I can't really control. But yeah, that's what inspired the book, was like, what if a girl has that disease and she picks until she has an infection that talks to her?
Wow, that's hardcore. And this
That's genius. That's genius.
Yeah, you got me. Not Adiana, I got a question for you. So how's the journey been since you wrote the book when you were 14? When did you actually publish the book? And how's the journey been for you?
I left public high school at 15, and I decided to take a test to graduate at 16. And then I was diagnosed with Graves' disease after having a thyroid storm. So I almost died, and that kind of helped inspire the book. And quarantining at home, I was stuck in a bed at home, and that helped inspire it. So all of that really led into me finishing the book. So I wrote the book between 14 and 18. I spent 6 months querying agents with no success. Finally, I don't know if you guys know Mike Salt. He offered to do kind of like indie publishing.
Okay.
And he gave me some really good feedback. He's actually going to write the introduction to my next book, Mukbang. I really feel like I owe him. But he gave me some good criticism. And after that, I decided to self-publish after I got the criticism that I needed. Agents that are traditional just don't give you any criticism.
Yeah, that's very true. It's in fact, if you can get any criticism, any good criticism from a traditional publisher, it's rare. It's my gold. It's weighted in gold, you could say. And I know, because I try to be traditionally published, it just wasn't for me. Now I wanted to ask you, would you be open to going back to trying traditional publishing, or are you going to be self-published forever?
I have a novella that I've been trying to traditionally publish. I might go with an indie publisher. I've been in talks with them, but I want to make sure that I get it right.
Right.
It's about a split personality, which it's hard because it's not like DID. Is like when you're born and you have trauma as a child, and then your personalities, you have multiple personalities. It's what they consider. This is like being drugged and abused, and that as an adult, and your personality splitting. So I just want to make sure that I have that right before I go and try and publish it. But yeah, I've queried a few agents, and since then I really want to go back over the manuscript.
Yeah, I've read a lot of books on multiple personalities. If you want, I can give you a list.
Yeah, thank you. It'd be really helpful. It's just I'm on my medication for my thyroid, since I have the Graves' disease, and I noticed that I feel like a different person when I'm on my meds, and that kind of helped inspire that book. But that'd be the only book that I really consider traditionally publishing.
Mhm.
Okay. Sybil is there's a book about it, but it's on a true story about a woman who she was brutally abused as a child, and she had like multiple personalities, not just one or two, like 20 or so.
Like 17, I think.
The Rabbit Howls.
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
that book.
Rabbit Howls.
I need to read it. Yeah.
Mine's of Billy Milligan, Three Faces of Eve. There's a bunch of them. But yeah, they all have that same psychological, physical, sexual trauma when they're children. It's like the brain splinters and compartmentalizes in order to deal with the horror of what they're dealing with.
I researched prior, and some dementia or Alzheimer medications can cause different personalities apparently, and that's what I wanted to base it off of. The person that kidnaps the girl is a pharmacist, so he knows what he's doing. Yeah.
Oh.
I love the idea.
Thank you.
Yeah, totally down with that. Well, now, since I've been following you around on Facebook, not in real life, everybody calm down. I know I'm wearing gloves, but that's for something we're going to get to later, just not yet. But I've noticed you don't just write books. You've got a whole lot going on. Tell us a little bit about some of the other endeavors that you're out there doing. I mean, for Pete's sake, you're 22 and an entrepreneur. It's blowing my mind over here at 47.
Well, I like making stupid videos, my fun facts and stuff. That helps because it gets me out to a broader audience. I used to do like funny videos that didn't really have a theme, and yeah, sure, I got 2,000 followers at the time, more than I had. But I noticed that I would talk to people and they were not into horror. So I was like, well, fuck, I need to come up with something that actually gets people into horror, gets me true crime fans and horror fans and people like cannibals and shit like that. And that's where I came up with doing fun fact videos that are, creepy and a little funny.
Those are awesome.
Thank you.
They are. Some of the
tumors can grow teeth.
Yeah, I enjoy them.
And what's the most recent one where people were using dead bodies as like medicine? Or
I have a whole book about it. I don't remember his name. Richard Sugg wrote a book about medieval medicine and people using bodies. They used to grind up skull powder. They would let moss grow on the skull and eat the moss. It was just, they used to use human body fat for gout. It was just, people thought that because we're human, like that it would cure us if we had like ingested a healthy human. It was just insane. Same thing with gladiator blood. Yeah.
Your latest one involves eating penises?
Yeah. An artist said that they didn't feel like they were any gender, so they removed their penis, balls, and scrotum, and they sold it. 5 people actually paid $250 to be at an event, and he cooked his own parts and served it to them.
With fava beans and a nice Chianti?
Actually, there were 70 total people at the event, and the people who weren't eating, what he was serving, they ate beef and crocodile meat. Yeah.
Yeah, but how would you know if you were actually eating beef or crocodile meat?
I don't know. I mean, I'm
I-
assuming there is a specific table for them.
I would
You
hope
tell the
so.
difference between crocodile and beef. I mean, I imagine crocodile tastes like gator. I've eaten plenty of gator. It's different, yeah.
Penis, party of six.
Yeah. Now penises, I don't know. I can't tell you, the difference between.
Somebody said at the event that it was not cooked well because it was chewy.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Maybe he should have.
Okay.
Maybe he
I'm
should
mind
have.
blown right now.
Maybe he should have powdered up some Viagra and used that as his rub. You know, might have firmed it up a little bit for him there.
Got some garlic sauce on there, something. Yeah.
He pan fried it, to my knowledge. I saw the photos, and he didn't even have the decency to shave it before he cooked it.
Pan fried pecker, everybody. Pan fried pecker.
Where's that barf bucket? Where's the barf bucket?
I've got that. And this is also for later in the show, my Infinity War trash can, just in case when we start talking about a certain book, I need it for emergency purposes only. Again, hence the gloves.
Yeah. The videos have really helped, honestly, with my research, because I usually research and record a video the day I post it. And yeah, it's definitely helped with my book.
Well, now I still plan on getting all decked out in my Centurion outfit and going outside. I'm just kind of waiting for this stupid Tennessee weather to figure out what it wants to do and get a nice day with some good lighting out. And then me and you figure out what a good backdrop would be. That way it kind of matches with wherever you're at. So when you edit it together, it'll work. Because I've already got the story I'm going to tell. I guess Bob will be who I'll be talking to. And I kind of am starting to get why Bob don't like you so much. Just saying. I mean, that poor guy, he might want to just move.
Well, when I first started bothering Bob, I found him at the bus stop, and then I found him at work. I found him at his house, so I'm sure he's annoyed by now.
Little stalky, little
bit,
maybe.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
So now I guess, I mean, totally not really all that important in the grand scheme of things, but I'm just curious, where did Bob come from?
I have a Budweiser shirt that was my dad's friend's that he gave to my dad. I stole it from his closet. I've had it for a while. Put on the mustache, and then I put on a hat backwards. And I was like, I kind of look like Jay and Silent Bob. And then I was like, I'll just name him Bob for now. And then I didn't realize that my uncle's name is Bob. My neighbor's name is Bob. So I'm just like, well, they're just gonna have to deal with it.
It was meant to be. That's what that is. I mean, it was just meant to be. You and Bob, friends for life. So now, God, I'm terrified and excited about talking to you about what you're currently working on. So I'm going to continue to deflect again just a little bit longer. Who are some of your influences? Who are some of the authors, writers, entertainers in general that you look up to or even just find inspiration from?
I really love Stephen King. I know that's kind of the general answer, but I was 13, I think, the first time I read one of his books. It was The Stand, and I would carry it around middle school. It's like that fat of a book. I carried it around like this Bible because I was reading it for so long. It's over 1,000 fucking pages long. And I read that, and that really inspired my first novel, Eden. It's just also an apocalypse novel. And I really like Kathy Koja's The Cipher. I didn't realize how rare the book. I didn't realize the book that I held was like worth $200 because they stopped printing it. That's definitely one of my favorites. It's another body horror. It's so depressingly beautiful, and it's just one of my favorites for sure.
So now, what is the actual definition of body horror? I've been seeing that a lot more here lately than I think I ever did in the past. So it seems to be a trend. What is it?
My definition is like when your body is kind of acting against you, or when something is wrong with your body. So like, in The Cipher, he starts to get a hole in the palm of his hand because he sticks his hand in a black hole and he pulls it out, and he starts slowly like getting this bigger and bigger hole. Yeah. And it's pretty nasty. Same thing with like The Stand. The descriptions of like the dead bodies where they're swollen, and then if you watch the series, all mucousy and stuff like that. But lots of pus and blood, and just when your body's against you,
Okay.
Cool.
Anybody else want to jump in on this fun now? Come on.
I guess the Jeff Goldblum, The Fly.
Oh,
that would be a good example of body horror, right?
Okay.
That's extreme, yeah. Basically anything like David Cronenberg.
So I wanted to ask, what's your favorite branch of horror? Because there's multiple branches of horror. What's your particular favorite that you can't get enough of? Your favorite branch of horror?
I don't really watch like the whole series. I've watched the first movie, Scream. I haven't ventured to watch the next movies just because I don't really like series. But I do like Silent Hill. I like the music. I like the movie, and then I'd like to play the game if I can find it. On some. I don't really have any like PCs or that. Yeah. But probably Silent Hill, just because the whole vibe of the movie and the soundtrack.
What
Hell yeah.
what genres other than horror do you enjoy?
Comedy, mostly. I grew up watching like stand-up comedy and comedy movies. I'm not like, I love romance movies. I don't think I've ever watched one.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I'm not big on romance either, so don't feel
comedy, thriller, and horror. That's about it.
comedy, thriller, and horror. Okay.
Well, I'll give you a
favorite movie of all time.
Probably Norbit or Friday. I watched those with my parents a lot. Yeah, Norbit.
Norbit.
With Eddie Murphy.
Friday I could get, but Norbit.
Norbit. Yeah.
Hmm.
I used to make everyone that came over to my house watch it like all the time. Yeah.
Friday with Ice Cube, I totally get that one. But Norbit,
we named our dog Craig.
Really?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
But
Absolutely
hey, I mean,
hilarious.
this is why we do the shows. We get to know cool things.
Exactly. Like, so I would have never in a million years had Norbit even on a top 1,000 list of movies you loved, and for it to be at the top, I said, okay, all right, here we are. This is where we find ourselves.
That's a first for me. Yeah.
I used to watch like Grown Ups on repeat with my friend when I was a kid too, like when it first came out.
Now that one I love. I love Grown Ups. That's such a funny movie, even though I'm still not one, but we're getting there slowly. But let me ask you. Let me give you a good recommendation, since you had mentioned horror or comedy as being something you really like to read. I would really recommend you get it through the audiobook style, but George Carlin, R.I.P., had a book he put out called George Carlin Reads to You. And it's just him reading different bits of his stand-up. And even though he's not on stage with a cheering crowd and all that, it is absolutely genius. So that one, I put that one on your TBR, TBL, add it to the stack, George Carlin Reads to You.
What was that one he did? Rain something like rain.
We'll have to look at that up after the show.
Yeah.
But have you guys read John Dies at the End by Jason Pargin? Pargin, however you say it.
Pargin. See, I ain't the only one that has trouble saying people's
names.
Tried
watching the movie.
I haven't watched the movie, but the book is good. Like, I started it on audiobook when I had a trial, and then I had to read the rest of it because my trial ran out. But I don't know, it just got me out of my reading slump. It was one of those books that, like, it's comedic at the same time as being scary. But he was, I think, an accountant before, and he published that online, like on online forums. And then people asked him to finally publish it, so he started printing manuscripts himself and sending them out, like just stacks of fucking paper and sending them out. And eventually he got a publisher.
Wow. Well, I want to give some quick shout outs real quick, because since we're not on StreamYard anymore, we don't see the comments on the screen, so I have to get them the old school way. But we got a quick hi, everyone, from Sue Oldham. Hello, Sue. Can't wait for the silly Sunday zombie limerick tomorrow. It's going to be awesome. Dungeon Dan creeping, lurking.
Yeah, of course.
He is out there. And just because he did point out, just realize they can't see these comments on Zoom. And then for some reason, he randomly followed that up with, never heard of tube steak. And Damian Lee. And Damian Lee is watching. What is up, my sunglass wearing brother? Now we are back up to date. Let's carry on.
Now, I wanted to ask. Sorry, Jack.
No, go ahead.
You want to ask something, Jack? You wanted to ask something, Jack?
Well, no, I was just carrying on with the festivities.
Yeah. I wanted to ask. What's your favorite way to read a book? Do you like audio, paperback, or ebooks? Or what's your preferred way of consuming books?
Paperback for sure. Ebooks give me a headache, and like audiobooks, like they're not fast enough. I know you can speed them up, but it's just it just I start focusing on something out and zoning out, and then I have to go back a couple of pages. So it's just better to use a paperback.
Yeah,
See,
me too. I tend to be the same.
See, my thing, I prefer audiobooks mainly because, well, it's a time thing for one, so I'm able to listen, on my commute and while I'm at work and do all that. But it's the speeding the thing up part that has always stumped me, because you've got this narrator. We'll use Matthew Crowe as a prime example. They have a voice, a sound, especially with Matthew Crowe. He's got that strong voice. And if you start speeding that up, you start pushing Mickey Mouse and, Alvin and the Chipmunks after a while. I'm like, you can't speed that up, man. Keep that thing at regular speed and run with it. Enjoy it and just soak it up. And come on now. But that's just me, off my soapbox.
Yep. I have a question for you. Describe for us a typical writing session.
I don't really have a typical one. I'll sit out back like I am right now. I'll sit in my office or my bedroom. I'll write on my phone, laptop, desktop. I'll even do speech to text a lot. That's how I wrote most of Adam's Murder, because it's first person. So I just kind of walked around my backyard, spoke into my phone, and my neighbors were probably like, "Is she talking about murder?" Yeah,
that's the best part of it.
Something saying.
I really don't really have a typical writing session.
Okay. So when you are writing, though, is it one of these deals where you almost schedule it? Like, I'm writing from this time to this time. Okay, I was wondering about that, because I find myself having to do that just because, with the working and doing stuff like this, it's like I have to block out certain times of the day going, okay, well, I've got an hour today. Can I get anything in there? So it's a little trickier. So, I mean, I would love to be able to do it like you just said, like just the moment the inspiration hits, run with it, but how many times have you experienced writer's block?
A lot. It happens like a lot, especially if, like, when I did Nano with National Novel Writing Month in November. That's how I wrote 50K of Mukbang. Oh man, I still haven't even finished the ending just because the writer's block was so bad after doing 16 to 1700 words a day. It just gets to a point where you're kind of burnt out and you're not sure where the story's going to go next. I didn't really plot that book out completely to the end. Yeah. And mostly when I get that, I start reading a lot. I start watching movies a lot or listening to music, consuming art. It's just, I need something that's going to spark an idea to get me to the next scene.
And there's no telling what's going to do it.
Yeah.
It could be anything.
Nope.
Yeah.
You ever find that things kind of come to you as you're writing? Like,
sometimes I'll branch off and do another project if the writer's block isn't preventing me from doing so. Sometimes I just can't write at all.
Well, because I'm getting where Richard's coming from there, though, that because I've done it where you sit down and it's like, okay, I've got my idea. Here's where we're going. And you just start pecking along. And then all of a sudden you're like, this is not where I was going. How did I get here? Has that happened to you?
Yeah, with Mukbang, I thought I had one plot and one ending, and then it kind of just veered off by itself. Like, I had posted chapters to my Patreon as I wrote it, and I put notes beforehand. I'm like, this thing took a complete 180 from where I was going. So yeah, kind of just took off.
I'll tell you, because Jack is reading my comic series, and I put some big time twists. And Jack, you'll see it for yourself. I said I pulled a Jack just now, and another thing I tell Jack is that it's much different when you're writing after work than when you're doing it like me and you. We're doing it full time. We're doing it, and it's an all day full time thing. It's a much different experience. I try to aim between 2,000 and 4,000 words a day, but it's because I do it from Monday for Thursday. I have a routine.
Yep.
So I should get a routine.
But that's why this is why I'm telling you, Jack and the others, who are starting, enjoy the experience now, because if you ever go into it full time, like I've been able to, it's a whole different animal, because I'm not trying to scare you out, Jack, but just know that it's a bit of a different experience when you get to do it, because everybody says, oh, I wish I could do it full time, I could do it all day, I could just sit back, start the day, eat breakfast, and get back and write. It's not as simple as that. It's not as simple as that.
Yeah.
It really isn't.
especially when you have to think about marketing and you're sitting there, you're writing, and you're like, man, I have these other books in my back catalog that I could be promoting right now. Yeah.
And I'm a caretaker. I take care of my elderly parents. I have to take care of them. I drive them around, pay bills, and all that. I do everything, you can say. So it's not. I don't really work full time. I'm full time, but they bust my chops all the time.
Well, piggybacking off of. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I have to support my local pot dispensary, so
absolutely don't need them going under. But now, piggybacking off what Angel was getting at there about having to go out and do just regular everyday things, with the masses. Have you found yourself ever out just doing some mundane thing out at the grocery store, picking up a prescription, doing whatever, and see something or hear something or encounter someone that you go, I'm writing that? Like it just inspires something. But it's so random.
I recently wrote a story set in the kind of lobby of the casino I go to. They have like a hotel portion with like a cafe, and I wrote Liar Liar, which is on my blog. It's set in the hotel part. I've never even been in, but yeah. I just wanted a story, and I set it where I go a lot. I go to that cafe a lot to get coffee and stuff, but yeah.
Okay, very cool. So now, hey, I'm gonna jump back onto Richard a little bit, coming off of, his question. Did any of that happen to you while you were writing Wild Eyed Southern Boys, where you were going in one direction and you just knew this is where you were headed, then all of a sudden, boom, you're somewhere else?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, on multiple occasions when I was writing that book. I went all kinds of different directions, but it's just because, shit would just pop up in this circus up here, and I'd be like, oh, yeah, I want to do this. And, even all the way up to the very end. All the way to, I didn't even know I was going to put in that little part on the end without throwing down any spoilers.
Yeah.
Until I wrote that sentence. I wrote the last sentence. I'm like, holy shit, I'm going to go this direction. Yeah. That's when I'm, finishing the entire fucking book. But, yeah.
Well, see, that's
it
what
definitely didn't start and end the way I intended it.
See, and that's what I have found so fascinating and fun about writing now that I'm actually doing it for real is, you can sit and think for days and days and days about an idea. And then when you actually sit down and start writing it, it's like, hey, buddy, I'm in control of this. Here's where we're going. And it does its own thing. Writing is such a weird thing. It's like putting a puzzle together.
Do you guys have that little voice that tells you the story or no?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I was like, I don't know if I was just crazy, but yeah, it's different than like my normal thinking voice.
Well, no, you are crazy, but you do have that voice too. You do have the voice too. So,
but that brings up the inevitable question. There are essentially two kinds of writers: plotters and pantsers. Plotters plot everything out. Pantsers write by the seat of their pants. Which would you consider yourself to be?
Both. I plotted out. So the book I was talking about earlier, I plotted that out completely. I plotted out the original plot the night that I came up with the idea, and then I just changed the ending. So it's kind of both. But I did it almost scene to scene with that book. And then Mukbang, I got probably 3/4 of the book plotted, and then I kind of just been winging it since then. But like Eaten and Void, I really just took it where it was gonna go.
Which do you find easiest?
Really depends. If I have an idea for something at the time and I can plot it out, then it's easier to go from A to B, B to C than A to Z. But if I just kind of have a spur of the moment idea and enough time to start working on it, I'll start writing it. And then, especially if it's a short story. Short stories I can just write out. I don't need to plot it, but whole novels I feel like need to be plotted.
Yes, I 100% agree with that. Because when I write a short story, it literally starts with, as Jeff would say, this is something I learned from him, is start something with what if. And I say what if, and then I think what if, and then it just goes. And then I just start making it. But as I'm thinking about writing this longer book, the Bigfoot one being one that was not supposed to be long, Richard, along with the group series by Jen Amato that I'm going to be writing in, I'm going to have to plot those. There's just no way I can just sit, because I'll get, 20,000 words in and wind up with a whole separate book going on. Like, it'll have nothing to do with where it started if I don't plot it out. But with a short story, it's kind of hard to get way off, even though I have managed to do it with this one I'm currently writing. Anywho, what's the biggest challenge you've encountered during not just the writing process, but just in being a writer in general?
Definitely sales. Like, writing is like the fun part. I can network pretty well, but marketing and actually getting sales is different right now. A lot of people are struggling. That's why I did the podcast, and I posted Adam's Murder on my blog chapter by chapter for free, as well as I read each chapter every week on my podcast. I plan on doing an audiobook, but I just like the idea of it being there for free.
Mm-hmm.
That way people can experience it. And I really hope that people who are grieving at the same time as me, or maybe even have some grief from shit a couple decades ago, can learn how to grieve through the book and maybe go through the process.
Yeah, I totally understand. And, like I was saying, marketing is like the bane of our existence as writers. But it's the bane. And this is a guy who sells daily. I'm able to get sales on a daily basis, and I still think it's the bane of my existence. So, I don't feel bad about it. I think marketing is a different skill set that we hate to say it, but we have to develop it. Won't you agree, Jeff and Richard?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, marketing blows, but it's at least 50% of the job.
And see, that's something
Maybe
I've
more,
noticed that, the deeper I've gotten into this world, and that's literally what it is. Trust me, ladies and gentlemen, this is a world. There's all kinds of wild shit going on. Like, I'll get on Facebook, be sitting having some frozen waffles at breakfast or whatever while I'm at work, and I'll pull it up, and my screen will be posts from Jeff. Like, every other post to be Jeff, but they're all in different groups. Horror group here, podcast group there. And it's the same thing. And it's like, holy shit, he literally had to sit and go share here, share here, share here. And it's like, I would lose my mind. And then I stop and think, damn it, that son of a bitch has me right now. I'm eventually gonna have to do that.
Well, what I do for like different groups usually is I'll go through and I'll pick about 15 to 16 groups that I want to post in at once. And then I write different posts for each group. So that way, instead of just like link dropping, I'm actually interacting with people and finding, friends and stuff like that who are into the same stuff. Or I'm able to use certain groups to help with my blog. Like, I do the blog posts where I'm asking for people's books or the recommendations, so that way I can compile lists. And that way I'm interacting and seen, as like an interactive person in the group. And my name keeps coming up and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's good. That's really a good way to do it. Yeah. That's what, when Dee created the written universe, that was the idea, is to just create a community where we could kind of lift each other up, which really was, it works. It does when people actually do it.
Mm-hmm.
But, anyway.
There's no doubt about that.
Is Facebook penalizes copying and pasting posts. So I'm like, well, fuck, now I have to write different posts for each group. Because if I start copying and pasting from like my personal page to similar groups, then they just don't get the same amount of reach.
Mm-hmm. Well, and when you do it that way, you also, if you tag anybody, the tag goes away. So now if you had like a link to a group or a link to anything, it's now just words. It doesn't, you can't click on it and do anything with it. So, but quick shout outs, a little quick update. Lee Edwards is watching. So Lee, that's for you, buddy. I love you. You know I do.
Yep. We love you, man.
Anthony Castro. He said, hey, y'all, did I make it to the train wreck on time? And yes, you made it in on time. And yes, I toast the damn waffles, Anthony, but they're technically called frozen waffles.
Man, Anthony. Yeah, I enjoy his my streams when he's drawing and all that. Yeah, I'm like, Anthony's a good guy, man.
Yes, he is, Mr. Bad Wabbit. Like that, man. Love the art. Love the art. Good
Yeah.
stuff. Good stuff. Now, do you do any, speaking of, Anthony with his drawing and stuff, you were talking about earlier sketching out the covers for, the new covers for your old books. Or do you draw a lot, or is it just kind of a little thing you do every now and then?
No, I need to practice more anatomy so that I can do my own comic book eventually. But I really like drawing. I've always liked art. With Adam's Murder, I tried to do like a traditional painting and then edit that onto the cover, and I really just don't like it. Let's see, I have it right here.
And Dungeon Dan.
It looks like
Oh,
a murder mystery. I just don't like it, so I'm gonna change it. Same thing with Eden and Void. I was 18 when I published Eden, and I didn't know how to do Photoshop or anything like that. So the cover is actually a photo that I took down the street, and then I used Kindle Cover Creator, and I didn't realize that, like with the photo size I had, that's why it's wrapped around like that. That was a mistake. That wasn't on purpose. But I had to just go with the flow because I didn't know any better. And with Mukbang, that's like my first like digital painting that I've done, and I'm actually really proud of it.
Hell to the yeah. And so, without further ado, oh boy, here we go. I've got the gloves on, everyone, because we're about to start touching and feeling around in some filth, and I want to make sure I don't get very much of that on me if I can help it. I have my Infinity War trash can just in case Miss Poe takes me to Barf Avenue. So, give us a little breakdown on what the hell Mukbang is all about.
So Mia and Jack, which I swear to God, I named the character before I met Jack. I swear. They have a travel vlog, and when COVID hits, they can't travel anymore. So Jack tries different ideas. He tries like a boot. I can't say OnlyFans in my book, but it's pretty much an OnlyFans. I think I named it like exclusive followers or something like that in the book.
That's creative.
That doesn't work. So he tries mukbang because he notices that like on his travel vlog videos, if they were eating in the video, it did really good. So over the course of 3 years of the pandemic, he tries to eat at least like 10 meals a day, which is a lot. And he gains a lot of weight. He's stuck upstairs, and he's just generally abusive to his wife, who cooks for him, cleans him, takes care of him. And she finally snaps and she just leaves, which this opens the door for Jack's biggest fan to get into his house. So she's got some weird kinks too. So yeah, it's kind of inspired. She was inspired kind of like Jeffrey Dahmer. And like, yeah, some of that, he was into, he wanted like mindless sex zombies is what he wanted. So that was kind of the portion that Rochelle, his biggest fan, was based off of.
That's just messed up.
Yeah, you can have them drilling into heads.
No.
None of that.
Not that far.
Okay, so could you give us a taste? Bad wording of what we will find in this book.
Lots of like, the first scene is him eating for his channel, and he tries to sexualize the food in his videos. So it's just the blank stares that you guys all gave me was great. But he tries to make it interesting for his followers, and that kind of develops a new sort of kink, I guess. That's especially what Rochelle is into. And then on the other spectrum, I guess, Mia is leaving across the country to go back to her parents' house, and she comes into contact with this guy that keeps following her around, and eventually she has to ask him for help, and he has a really dark past. So there's like two sides of the story. One is absolutely disgusting, and as I said in the group chat, maggot infested penis may or may not be part of it.
What would a good book be if it didn't have maggot infested penises?
I don't know why King hasn't done it yet.
I know, right?
Yeah.
He's probably saving that, for his coup de grace, his final exit away.
What have I been thinking? Maggot infested penises.
Nope.
That
Jeff,
must be the Holy Grail.
The final angel.
Ah.
Maggot-infested penis.
Oh no.
We may have to do it. Sorry, Angel.
Oh, well.
It's got to be done.
Anywho, yeah, I mean, Miss Poe has set the mark. She has elevated
She
writing
has set
to a
the
brand new
bar
place.
so high that you now have to die by maggot-infested penis.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep, is what it is.
Nothing we can do.
Now we got to
Yeah.
figure out how to get Richard to work maggot-infested penises in on Buford.
Maggot-infested
and he-
Sasquatch
That's,
penis.
I'm gonna have to put some thought into that one.
Yeah, I see. I made him speechless on that one. He just really went, huh? Well, see, this is what happens when you have these crazy folks all in the same place at the same time.
Jack.
It goes off to where, hey, don't blame me. I just invited y'all. That's all. Shit, y'all showed up and brought your crazy.
I'm messing with you, bro. We're not. I'm messing with you.
So now,
Or
what
am
are
I?
your future? I never know. So, what are your future plans? What more do you want to do? Because it's obvious from everything that you're doing, you don't just want to be a writer. What is the end game? You know, bringing back up my Infinity War trash can. What are you?
My
What do you
neighbor
want
says
to
that
do?
all the time. What is the end game? Is what he always asks. And the end
Ah.
game
Great
is
minds.
is Stephen King, pretty much. Like, I'd love to cameo in my own movies. You know, everyone
Oh, that would be cool.
reads my books, even if they're not like super into the horror genre. I feel like people still read Stephen King. There's a couple of my books or stories that are like borderline horror. I feel like where like Adam's Murder wasn't so aggressively horror, like Eaten and Mukbang. And I feel like somebody who's into like thrillers or true crime could easily digest that without feeling like ooh. I have a short story called Vitality in my short story collection, Cradles the Brain, that I would love to continue into a full novel. Same collection, there's Pudge, which is a clown character that I have that I'd like to continue into a full novel. And Mukbang, I plan on, for now, it's a 4-book series.
Okay. Oh, well, you're gonna keep the filth going for a hot minute then.
Yeah.
I'm here for. I'm here for it, man. Go for it. Shit.
They're all kind of film themed, I guess, because Mukbang is it's a category of like filming. The next one would be a snuff. That's a.
Ooh.
I haven't told anyone that, but yes, yeah, that's the next.
Exclusive, right here on episode 1 of the Book of Asylum.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around how you're going to top the maggot-infested penis. How do you top that?
The next
How
one,
do you?
the next one's going to be kind of like Saw-esque, where it's like this game, and it's going to be more bloody than gross, I feel like.
Okay. I like it. But that does, as Jeff would say, that then book 3, you got to go here. Now, book 4, you got to go here.
Book 2 and 3 are kind of character backgrounds. And then the 4th one would be like the continuation of the story. So we'll see where that one goes.
I'm seeing a lot of violence. I'm seeing a lot of blood. There's gonna be pus. There has to be pus. Why wouldn't there be pus? Of course, there's pus.
Maggots.
There's gonna be maggots. That's a given. Oh, this is about to be just freaking insane.
Stephen King has a great quote. He said, "First I'll try to terrify, then I'll try to horrify, then I'll go for the gross out. I am not proud."
That's actually a really good line.
Yeah, it is a really good line.
Well, honestly, I hope that the storyline of Mukbang is kind of tragic. That's what I want it to be, like this horrible, sad story underneath all of the gross.
So you want us to feel bad for Jack?
Not necessarily for Jack. Jack's not really the main character anymore. He was. Mia became like his wife, became like the main character.
Okay,
and I feel like her life is so fucking tragic. Like, she's been with this guy for a decade. He's always been kind of borderline douchey. And then finally she just snaps, you know. And it's her life that's tragic, and you just feel bad for her. I didn't know that. Like, I was like 50K into the book, and I'm like, damn, Jack's not even the main character anymore.
That's the story of my life, actually. So,
Yeah.
yeah, Jack's life story. He's a secondary character.
Yeah, he's an NPC. There you go.
Yeah, pretty much.
The red shirt.
Yeah. Total Star Trek reference right there. You know, I tried to do it. Don't think it worked. No, it didn't work. Anyway, so if you could offer any advice to a young writer, I'm going to say a young writer because trust me, the mentality of a 22-year-old compared to the mentality of a 47-year-old, 32-year-old, a pair of 90-year-olds.
I have socks older than she is.
Yep. So what advice would you give them trying to step into this, as I called it, a world?
Just keep writing. I know that the blank page is daunting, but if you don't write, then you can't edit. You can't edit a blank page. So if you write and you keep it to yourself, even if you keep it to yourself for 5 years, and then you go back to it and you're like, hey, I like the basis of this story, but I know I can improve. That's pretty much what I'm doing with Eden. There's no shame in going back and editing and putting things up to par with what you are right now. But just keep writing. A lot of people are like, I'm stuck. I feel like, because I talk to a lot of aspiring authors and they're like, I just don't think my story's good enough. It's like, it doesn't matter if it's good enough. Nobody has to read it. Just write it. You can keep it to yourself forever. Nobody has to read it.
The only person you have to entertain with that first draft is you.
Am right.
That's it.
Oh, and Anthony says, I love this loony bin.
Yeah. Yep. The feeling is mutual, Anthony. We love you too.
So now one thing,
we gotta get you on the show one day.
Oh, we will. Oh, he's coming. He'll be here. Don't worry. He's coming in the future. I got plans. Dun dun dun. So let me ask you this: as such a young writer, have you dealt with a lot of pushback because you're so young? Like people might not feel like you have enough life experience to be telling these stories, or have people been more receptive?
With my first book, I felt like every compliment I got was backhanded, like, oh, she's a good writer for her age. And I was like, maybe I shouldn't have put my age out there because it just, everything felt backhanded, like I said. Some people were kind of pushy about it. They were like, well, do you think you're good enough to publish a book or write a book? And I was like, yeah, I mean,
Damn
I've
right.
been writing, I think I wrote my first story when I was 8. So it's like, that's just what I remember. I've been writing a long time and I have time to improve. It's, you know, there's been a lot of people that have been really supportive. And they're not trying to be backhanded. They're just like, wow, she's good for her age. And to me, it just sounds backhanded, but it's not. They're just impressed because I was 18. Hopefully when I redo the books, I won't be seen for my age anymore. It'll be like, wow, this is a good book in general, not just for her age.
Exactly.
The pushback I've gotten is for my fucking last name. I have a review on Eaton right now that pisses me off. It's a 1-star review. She read 25 pages of the book and she said, I don't think she's going to follow in her cousin's footsteps. It's like, I never said that I was going to. I'm not a poetry writer. I'm not like a gothic writer. I write splatterpunk and horror, like extreme horror.
Yeah,
exactly.
There's just no pleasing some people. Some people, they might be invisible.
Yeah.
Well, and people, I mean, and when you're trying, oh, sorry.
No, they think I use a pseudonym and it's my real name.
It's real name.
Yeah, it's on my driver's license, my birth certificate. It's my name, it's my dad's name. I get a lot of pushback for it. And it's like, people told me I'm cowardly for using it. I'm like, for using my own
your
name.
Actual fucking name.
Your legal name. Yeah.
See that? I mean, look, I'm gonna, you know, I've got multiple layers of reasons why I was so excited about being able to get you to come be part of the show and to get to know you first of all, which is so cool. But I'm gonna tell you now, your last name is not a negative here. Your last name is a positive here. Like, holy shit, we got a Poe.
Yeah.
I mean, he's always been a huge inspiration, but I would never compare myself to his writing or say, oh, I'm going to be, you know, the next Poe. Like, you know, I prefer to be known by my first name than by my last name.
Which I can't say most of the time. But
It's not
anyway,
that hard.
you ain't from the South there, young lady. You don't know how we talks down here. We can't get words right most of the time.
Yeah, but the thing about it is that I your age, I have to see it as a positive. You know, I see it as you know, so I kind of wish I would done that at your age. I got started sooner. You know, I actually look back and regret that I didn't start sooner. That I waited till I was 27, 28 to Mike got a hold of me. You know, and I'm still regretting it. So I think you're actually doing it better starting at a young age.
Hell
So
yeah.
I don't
Hard.
see it as a-
I was dating a
yeah,
guy and
kind of
he had
positive.
a job as like an iron worker. And he was like, well, why don't you get a real job? You know, and I told him, I was like, I applied for a job and you know, you get paid $150 an hour. And I knew I wasn't going to get it. You needed 10 years experience, but I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna submit my resume, see if I get it at Scribe Media for a ghostwriting job. And he's like, why would a writer get paid that much? You're just writing. And I've always felt like I've been put down by people my age. And then at the same time, I feel like I can compare myself to people twice my age. So I'm sitting here like, why aren't I making sales like these people? And a lot of the people in the writing game are a lot older than me, or, you know, a decade, 2 decades, you know, it's hard comparing yourself to people who.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
Yeah,
just
well,
don't-
here's the thing though. Don't.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. Your age means nothing.
Nope.
None of
Nope.
it means nothing. Precisely because your writing will last longer than you do.
Mhm.
When you're dead and gone, it will still be here.
Mhm.
Nobody's going to give a rat's ass about how old you were.
And for a good example here, Jeff, how old were you when you literally started writing for real?
I was like 7.
Okay.
Whatever the age is, when you learn how to form complete sentences.
So
Whatever
in
that
con-
age was.
in contrast, Richard, how old were you when you first started writing for real?
47.
47. Same, exact same. Angel, how old
and I
were
know-
you when you started writing for real?
20. I started in junior high school, but publishing for real, 27.
And
Well,
there's
yeah,
nothing
So-
wrong with that. I always tell people
Mhm.
there's not a limit on creativity and what you can do.
Mhm.
It's just,
Nope.
I see people who have bigger networks than me, and I feel like I don't really have friends and family to talk to about my books, or, you know, I can't go to a job and promote my book to my coworkers that. You know, I do this full time. So I'm meeting people like you guys online.
Yep. Now I actually have gotten kind of lucky on that because I work with a bunch of dumbass rednecks like myself, and they think all this that I'm doing is just cool as hell. Granted, they're not coming to watch the shows, they're not buying any books, but they think it's cool as hell, and they'll just let me talk about it. And you're gonna be so rich, and I'm like, dude, seriously, fuck
Yeah,
off. No, you
Don't
know.
do that.
But and that's kind of the flip side of it is when you do find some people you can talk to about it, they're seeing it like way the hell up here, like, you know, and you're going like, no, dude, we're kind of more over here. It's like,
Yeah, we're
I
not
swear
that
people-
pompous, as they say.
go ahead, Miss Peg.
Oh, I swear, some people, you know, like the guy I was dating at the time, it was like he was here and I was here because he had a real job and got paid hourly and stuff. And I was like, I'm really just trying my best, you know. It just,
Yeah.
you know.
You know, that's really all anybody can do at this point. You know, if you're going to decide to write, first off, don't be thin-skinned. Just
Yeah.
know that not
Yeah.
everybody's going to like what you write, and also know that people are going to tell you they liked what you wrote, even if they really didn't. They just
Yeah.
like you, and so you're going to get both ends of that. Just kind of worry about the meat in the middle, because that's where the truth is about what you're doing. But like everyone here will say, just keep writing. Don't stop writing. Keep doing it, because if you're enjoying it, at the end of the day, that's really what matters. Don't put yourself in debt. You know, I mean, if your books aren't selling, don't put yourself in debt, but still write, save the files, keep the shit, go back and read it later.
Yep. And you've already got the most important aspect. You're entertaining.
Yes.
You are. The little videos you do, they're entertaining. Your warped view of life is entertaining. We are in the entertainment business.
Yes.
You've already got it down. You got nothing but up to go. So,
Hopefully, yeah.
And in
Well
theory,
done.
a lot more time to do even more.
Hopefully,
yeah.
the thing when I was, first diagnosed with the Graves' disease, I thought I was gonna die. And some articles say that it shortens your lifespan. I'm just hoping it's not by a lot,
So
I just have to keep being healthy. I had to restart my medication because I thought I was gonna have a heart attack. So, my metabolism starts going so fast that my heart rate speeds up and everything speeds up. My thoughts, I start overheating, like a car engine. I start overheating. I'm sensitive to heat, and so it's just trying to balance being an author as well as taking care of myself.
Well, I'm going to say make priority number one, take care of yourself, because you're no good to us as an author if you're freaking dead. So take care of yourself first. That's the most important thing. Well, guys, believe it or not, we have reached the end of the first episode of the book Asylum, which I'm so excited about that. Now I don't have to deal with, hey, would you like to come on our show? It's called Written Undead. Well, I don't write zombies. It don't matter. Now it really don't freaking matter. It's the book Asylum. You wrote a book, come on the show. It's an asylum. You did something crazy, come on the show. It don't matter. Just come hang out with us. Just like Miss Poe, who going forward will remain on that screen, but in a different capacity. She will now become one of the grillers versus being one of the grillees.
It was hard. I'm used to being on the show, like asking questions, and I'm like, oh my God, I have to explain things now.
That's the most fun part for me. That's the most fun part for me, is to try to get you guys to, really give answers that maybe you're not even comfortable with. Like, crap, they asked that shit. The fans, being someone who is a fan and started off as just a fan, we want to know this stuff. Like Norbit, really?
Yeah.
Norbit?
I never saw that coming.
Yeah, we want to know these things, and that's why we do these shows, so that we can give this back to the people who are tuning in at home, like Lee Edwards, like Anthony Castro, like Carl Meadows, who didn't show up this week, but in case he catches it later, hello, Mary Poppins. That'll make his day. He hates my accent.
With just cause.
Yeah, well, whatever. So, at the end of this show, just like the previous show, we're going to go around the room and we're going to find out where all of you lovely, lovely watchers, viewers, listeners, fans, crazy people can find the works of the fantastic authors that, one, co-host with me, and two, come on as guests with all of us. Jeff Thompson, care to explain where you can be found, sir?
Okay, well, first off, I run the Asylum of Fear Facebook group. It's part of the Written Undead, part of the Written Universe. So let me make sure I get this right. Tomorrow, the new Stoned Bastards.
Two stoned
Bastards movie review podcast will be doing a special episode on Cocaine Bear. That's tomorrow. Book 4 of Epic Mayhem, Death and Destruction, comes out March 30th. I believe myself and Richard will be the next victims on this podcast next weekend. I do believe. Let me think. Also next weekend will be the next episode of The Padded Room. And Monday, Scott Baker and I on Battle Tested History will be doing George S. Patton.
Sweet. That's a good run right there. That's out there doing your business, is what that is, ladies and gentlemen. That's out there getting it done.
That's what I got going.
All right.
Maybe I'll sleep in there somewhere.
Yeah, sleep is for the dead. Come on. We all know it. Angel Ramon, what do you got going on, my brother? And where can everybody find the stuff you've already done?
Well, you can find me on Amazon. As you can see, Sertolian. Take out the Sertolian and just put Antius Maximus. You can find all my historical fiction works. King Minos 5, the final book of the Greek mythology series, will be coming out late spring, early summer.
The red pen is ready.
Yes. And the math is ready to haunt your dreams. Boom. And you can also find me on the Legionnaires of Antius Maximus. It's more of the history-centric group. We don't talk too much about horror, so. But if you like historical fiction and Roman history, I do run that group. And next week is the Antius Maximus podcast, where we'll be talking part 2 of our Julius Caesar talk with me and Aiden, and hopefully Jack can make it this time, hopefully. And you can also find me on Patreon, where I upload chapters. So just look me up on Antius Maximus on Patreon, and you can find all the chapters I've done for my new book, and you can read not just the book I'm doing, you can read all my future books before anybody else. And if you sign up for the higher levels like Jack has done, you can get paperbacks and all kinds of other goodies and that'll be on me. And you can also find me on the Written Undead group, where I post daily, and on the Asylum of Fear right here. You can also find me posting something cool when I get the chance. And other than that, that's all I got to share with you.
Awesome, Angel. Oh, and by the way, your dad's bureau, it's coming along great, man. I'm really digging seeing that.
Yeah.
Keep those updates coming, man. That's some pretty art.
I like what Aiden Collier said. He said he thinks my father might have been a Roman in a past lifetime,
or a caveman.
Maybe
could have been either. You never know.
Yeah.
Richard, Ryan, Rose. What the hell is up? Where is my book 3, you bastard?
All right. So yeah, book 3 is coming out. It looks like around the beginning of April.
Right near my birthday.
Going through the editing process. The book is written. We're just going through the editing process right now. So should have it ready to go by April 1st, and hopefully it's no April Fool's joke. So,
Hail to the yeah.
Wild-Eyed Southern Boys, Dead Cold War.
And where can we go find Wild-Eyed Southern Boys and the Rougarou War?
Okay, so you can come to my Facebook page, Richard R. Rose, author, and you also have richardrrose.com, my website. I'm going to be updating it in the very near future, but Amazon, iTunes, Goodreads, Audible, you can find Wild-Eyed Southern Boys Book 1 and the Rougarou War, Wild-Eyed Southern Boys prequel. That's 2 good books to catch up on before book 3, Wild-Eyed Southern Boys, Dead Cold War comes out.
Hell yeah. Well, now, ladies, I just want to throw this out there. If you're fans of Mike and BT, or Adrian and Abby, or any combination of heroes from other book series like Zombie Fallout, Adrian's Undead Diary, you've got to get in on Wild-Eyed Southern Boys. Rue and Buford are the future. Those two are fucking awesome together. They're brilliant. Granted, it's unfortunate that they're probably going to die by the end of book 3 at the hands of the Bear Baron because, well, it's me. But you've got to get in on this. Now, to wrap it up the only way we can, Miss, damn it, I can't get my mouth to say the words right.
Can you say alien?
Alien.
Aliana Poe. There you go.
Aliana Poe. I did it. I did it.
Aliana Poe.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. So I was checking comments. Anthony Castro said he loves my name, by the way, and I'm glad that you could finally pronounce it right. But I actually came prepared. You can find me at author Aliana Poe on Instagram. See, I did it so people could actually read it. I wish I knew how to do it like digitally. I don't know how to do that. And then at my website, authoralianapoe.com, and then I put /mukbang because you can sign up to my email list. It's separate from my website email list. It's just for mukbang. And if you pre-order mukbang, you get a sticker that I'm still working on.
I got a question about the sticker.
Yeah.
Is it weatherproof? Is it one like you could slap on the back window of a
I'm
car
gonna get
and
it.
survive?
I use vinyl disorder, and one, they're cheap, and two, I had my stickers on my truck for 2 years, and I sold my fucking truck. But I peeled them off, and I was able to stick them on something else. That's how.
No shit.
No shit. Yeah, was able to stick them on something
Okay.
else. They
That's
didn't fade.
freaking sweet.
So that's what I love that brand. But yeah,
what's
I
this
also.
company?
What was that?
What's the sticker company?
Vinyl disorder. Yeah, they're really good. I honestly, I checked them compared to like Sticker Mule, and the prices were like half the price. But I do author interviews, so I'll be in contact with all of you. So that way I can get you guys featured. I do author interviews, book features, and new release alerts for free.
Speaking of which,
Obviously,
could you send me that questionnaire again?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. I was gonna send it to you guys anyways.
Nice.
But I do those free, and then I offer advertising. But yeah, soon I'll be doing my podcast again, hopefully this summer.
Well, we're gonna essentially, raid your party at some point, right?
Well, I just do story readings, so I don't do like author interviews just yet.
Yeah, we'll be in the comments section. We call them
Good.
comment ninjas. We'll be there. Don't even
Okay.
worry about it.
Yeah, I post on like YouTube, Spotify, and all that. So
Sweet. All
Yeah.
right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, even though it started a little late, ran a little long, that's how we do things around here because we ain't
always
right.
late.
This has been episode 1 of the book Asylum. I am Jack Childress. That is Jeff Thompson. Over there, lurking, Angel Ramon. Over here, squatching, that would be Richard Ryan Rose. And our guest and new teammate, Alyanna Poe, is in the house. We will see you guys next week. And we'll be grilling these guys. See y'all then.
Yeah.
Peace out.
Adios.
Take it easy, everyone.